Okay, so we're going to go over looks maxing, why it's pretty much for the most part fucking stupid. You don't need it to get girls, but then obviously cover where it's correct because, I mean, looks help, duh. And I'm intentionally making this video without shaving. I know it looks awful, especially this part. I have this weird thing where I don't have a full beard and I get this one little patch right here. It looks horrible. Well aware of it. I'm going to make this video anyways to kind of prove a point. I also should probably lose 15 pounds. But I've picked up girls, lots of girls, looking like this, right? There's been points in my life where I was jacked and looked really good. And there was points where I didn't look so good. Definitely not in the best shape of my life, right? But I've picked up girls, just woke up, hungover, oily as shit because I'm a dirty spick and I have to take showers because I get really, really oily. I was groggy. My breath smelled like fucking shit. I was wearing torn up basketball shorts, a dirty fucking t-shirt with probably a stain on it. Walked outside to move my car and approach some beautiful girl and get her phone number. Okay. I've done it. I proved it. If that's not your reality, I understand. You're probably watching this and saying, what's this dumb faggot saying? He's ugly, he's fat, whatever. I get it. If in your reality you haven't seen this actually happen, you don't believe it's true, right? But if you don't have a lot of experience with women, then you probably shouldn't really be forming opinions on it, right? Like, isn't that a pretty good premise? That because a lot of the LooksMax guys are, don't have a lot of experience. It evolved from the incel community. You're probably aware of this, right? A lot of things take like years to evolve. LookMaxing really, really started in the black pill and the incel community like 10 plus years ago when the forums started to get big. They would like rate each other, send photos of each other, and then like, this is their potential, is how good they look, right? That's it. You are conditioned purely by your genetics, and that's as far as you can get. And then probably some level of self-improvement entered in their mind. You're like, okay, if I am a prisoner of my looks, then, I can change it. I can do this. I can do that. And then now we have these crazy levels of like, okay, guys are going to get plastic surgery and whatever and blah, blah, blah. So let me get the positives of like the look max out of the way, and then we'll get to the negatives and explain why it's stupid. And most of the people who hold these opinions don't actually have a lot of experience with women. Okay, so what is correct about look maxing? Does looking better work? Fucking duh. Like, yeah. If I lost 15 pounds, got to put a little more muscle on, got back to like my good, shape, got a little bit of a tan, got some fucking sun and not sitting in my room like a fucking goblin. I generally look better with an undercut, so short hair and longer on the top and a little bit spiky and, shaved on the sides. It's usually my best looking haircut, although I can look pretty good with long hair, but right now, obviously, it's not working. It's actually probably making me look more overweight than I am. And, I put, got one of my gay little earrings on again and started wearing some more accessories. And, I was wearing like a button down and nice fucking clothes, not anime t-shirts, right? Would I be more attractive to women? Yes. I would have much better first impressions, right? But here's where you're not understanding the things, okay? So yeah, looks help. And also, being in the top 1% of anything is, of course, attractive. If you're in the top 1% of height, you're going to get outlier results. If you're in the top 1% of looks, you're going to get outlier results. If you're in the top 1% of status, you're going to get outlier results. Like anything that's 1%. If you have a 10-inch dick and everyone knows it, you're going to get out. Like, yes, of course, right? And of course, women do like beautiful looking men. Again, duh. But it's not the end all be all is going to be the point, right? And it's not the greatest, it's not going to have the most dramatic effect on your results. The only way I see it happening, and this is because I got in a talk with a guy who is look maxing, and he's starting to feel better. He actually got surgery. He's starting to feel better. It'll have a downstream effect. Like, you'll make these drastic changes, and you'll have a self-fulfilling prophecy where you'll feel better about yourself, so you'll start acting in ways that are more attractive. But what you'll find is that it's the personality changes that are the most dramatic in terms of like changes to your to your results. Because actually, if you take the look max premise of if I look better, I'm going to get results, then this is how you test it. You have to test it rigorously, right? If you're going to fucking test something, do it right. You have to be so good looking that girls will walk up to you and offer you sex. Because as soon as you start saying, oh, well, you still have to approach a girl and you still have to ask them out, like, it's right in your face, retard. Like, doesn't that mean that, I mean, having the courage to walk up to girls and being assertive about asking them out, these are all personality things, right? So you can't say, oh, I'm a looksmaxer, and then say, oh, but I still need to approach girls. It's like, no, that's against your dogma. That's against your doctrine. You actually have to be in a place where you're a girl, which is kind of funny. This is actually one of the core things of what it is it's a female mentality. Like, I'm going to make myself as attractive as possible and guys are going to approach me. Well, in this case for you, girls are going to approach you. So you have to just stand there, be your pretty self with your new nose job and your fucking leg extenders, because you're a fucking Gundam, and you're like 6'5" now, and you've gotten over the 2-year period where you can't walk and you've learned how to walk again. Okay, good for you. Okay, now you have to stand there and girls are going to approach you and suck your dick. If you do anything, like approaching them, talking to them, being charismatic, you are going against the dogma. Right? That's for the really extreme of you. But my premise is going to be that your changes to your personality, like doing what I'm doing now, able to like intonate your voice and actually be interesting with the way that you talk and be honest and be assertive and be brave and like being able to walk up to a girl and tell her that you think she's really hot. Regardless of how she responds. Who cares if she rejects me? Who cares if she thinks I'm a loser? Or blah, 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 blah. That is all going to be more attractive to women in the end, right? But, of course, again, being attractive is physically attractive helps. Would never deny that it helps. Look, here's my fucking best friend. This is what he looks like. Okay? The dude is like the Chad of Chads. Like, there isn't a person on earth who's going to look at that guy and go, oh, yeah, he looks like a beta. Dude, he's good looking. He's fucking shredded. And he looks like this year round. I'm serious. He has like 0.01% genetics. He's 6 foot tall. He has a really deep voice. He has this very stoic demeanor. I got better results than him. I could put him on camera right now. I mean, he's in Romania. And be like, who gets more bitches? He'd be like, you do. Because he put all of his life into sports and being strong and this and that. Are girls attracted to him? Of course. He has great aura too. He's not just like this and doesn't like, he has a strong presence too. Like, men are really, really deferent with him. Like, he's really good at being the alpha when it comes to a group of men. And women would be attracted to him at first, but then they'll lose interest. Because he's really shy. he doesn't do the approaching. He's really shy. And he doesn't like push things forward. The girls that he succeeds with are the girls who do all the work for him. And it's not as common as you think. You would see that guy as a lookmaxer and go, Chad fucks Stacy, 10 Stacys every millisecond. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. I guarantee you don't have a friend who's as like stereotypically, archetypically more Chad than him. He's the most Chad dude I've ever met in my life. And I've met a lot of people, ex-professional athletes, whatever. When it comes to just like Chad presence, he wins. 10 out of 10 times. And girls are not just walking up and like offering their pussy. Occasionally, he'll get it. Like, he was on TV in his, in like national television in his country. And like, he would get messages from girls and they would like show a lot of interest, but he still would have to do something. Girls are not the type of beings who are like, hey, I like you, let me suck your dick, and they take control, because they're not men. So actually, if you reverse engineer that understanding, but you won't have that understanding if you don't have any experience, you have to be the one to like actually do things. And you have to do it smoothly. If initial attraction, pay fucking attention. If the initial attraction a girl feels for you is enough to get laid, there would never be a single instance of someone having a girl attracted to them and then it not working out. But that happens all the time. A girl likes you at first and then is texting you and stops responding. A girl likes you at first, goes on a date with you, but then doesn't go on date number 2. Or like doesn't want to, like, if the initial attraction, which would be from looks, because that's an initial thing, was enough every single time, if it was the primary universal attractor that holds weight above everything else, then it would be sufficient to carry you from the 1 yard line to the end zone. But that's clearly not the case. You do understand that, right? I would hope so. So, where is this mentality coming from? It's because you're a man and you judge women primarily by their looks. Not 100%, but like 60 to 70%. Men are attracted mostly to looks. So you looking out into the world as a man, you also think that women are that way. And you've probably seen enough cases that feed into your delusion. And there is the phenomenon that somewhat regularly people do looks match. Like men of relative attractiveness usually date women of relative attractiveness. And this is because most people don't step outside of what they were born with. Like most people do not take radical changes in their life. I'm not saying it's all the time. I'm saying it's enough times that you see it and you think this must be how the world works. Right? That really beautiful girl dates a really beautiful guy. Well, it's probably because most people are like you. Most people don't radically change their life and become different people. Most people are born this way, live this way, and die this way, and never level up and never change their circumstances. So because of that, you have a feedback loop where you're of confirmation bias of like, okay, well, everyone is just a slave of their conditions. People who are born rich die rich. Which is actually not the case, right? Most fortunes end in like 4 generations. But you're watching those first 3 generations. Like, oh, well, rich people are born rich and end up rich. When there's like tons of cases where people change their circumstances, but they are outliers. But that it doesn't matter what the norm is, right? It matters what the truth is. Say that again. It doesn't matter what you are seeing as the norm. It matters what the truth is, because a looks maxer is not saying, oh, girls just end up with guys who are like the relative attractiveness. You're actually trying to take it deeper, and you think it's a universal principle that's being shown through that behavior. You're going, oh, that means looks are the most important. No, it's not true, right? And plus, again, just look at guys who are like, have money or status or this or that, and they have a change. Or they have a change of circumstance that they wouldn't be a slave to whatever they were born with genetically, right? You're looking out to the world as a man, and so you expect the world to be the way that you see it. Because, I don't know, you're a fucking retard, maybe you're autistic, maybe you're a narcissist. It could be 10 different things, right? Maybe you're just a bitch, right? And you have the inability to see outside of your own circumstances, right? It could just be a laziness thing. Like, you don't want to work, so you just want to come up with a theory that, like, copes, right? That was the whole thing in the incel community. They just talk about anything outside of of black pill is a cope. It's all a cope. It's all a cope. It's all a cope. No, the black pill itself is a cope. I don't want to work. I had a pretty decent sized black pill YouTuber. I'm not going to say who he was. We talked and we had a session where we had like a coaching session where I was like, okay, well, tell me what you did. And he told me about his experiences with dating, and the dude was just like making the most basic fucking errors. Like, he went on some date from online dating with some single mother who was unattractive and like fucking older. And like she was there like 30 minutes late, and he stayed around like a little bitch. And I'm just like, what? If she was like 15 minutes late, just fucking leave. Like, what? And then she shows up and she's like not really that interested. I'm like, yeah, well, first of all, she's kind of a low value human being, not because she's a single mother, but because of like X and Y and Z, right? On top of that, probably no one wants to fuck her, right? Or commit to her, and she's kind of probably a little bit of a bitch. But like, also, she's rude and this and that. I'm like, why are you letting this chick walk all over you? You should have been like, okay, well, hey, whatever. Or just left, right? Have some fucking respect for yourself. And he talks like a bitch. He's like, well, And I'm like, you talk like a faggot, you walk like a faggot, you think like a faggot. Well, of course women aren't going to want to fuck you because they think you're a faggot. Like, I don't think it's that you were born the way you look, dude. I think you just suck, right? And his problem-solving abilities were just, less than stellar. So, now that I've covered, looks are obviously attractive, but you're overemphasizing their importance because you're a man and you're seeing the world as a man. Now we think, okay, well, how is it that women see things? Women, of course, like guys that look good. Fucking duh. If you look on the romance novels, the covers are all the guys hunky, six-pack fucking macho men. Yeah, because that would obviously be their ideal. They would want a guy who has all the best looks and the best personality and the best circumstance and treats her the best. Of course, if we had to go in a fucking doll shop and make our ideal woman, she would have whatever you like. You like big tits, little tits. I personally like little tits. I like big asses, right? Skinny waist, big ass, petite girls, right? But I also like tall, busty girls. I'm attracted to it. It's just not my ideal type, right? I like all sorts of different women, right? But if I had to put a girl in a little factory and make a Build-A-Bitch, right, instead of Build-A-Bear, you would probably see some blonde, big lip, big ass, skinny waist, little tits, kind of slightly bitchy looking girl who has a very feminine voice and da-da-da-da-da. And then on top of that is nice, is loyal, it has integrity, she's generous, she's self-sacrificed. I would build my perfect bitch. When girls are making these romance novels and thinking of the ideal guy, they're probably not making him look like me. But that's not about what actually happens. What actually happens if you look outside of the biased sampling that you're doing, if you actually looked at what can be done, right? Because I did say earlier that most people are slaves of their circumstances. Most people are not stepping outside of themselves. So they kind of just end up, poor people end up with poor people, and ugly people end up with ugly people, and good-looking people and rich people and end up with each other, because most people are a slave of their circumstances. But that's not pointing to a universal principle of how things actually work. If you meet a dude who isn't that good looking, but really fucking outgoing and this and that, and he's assertive, and I have so many examples. And it's not that the exceptions are proving the rule, because you're connecting what you're seeing to a principle. This is incorrect. All it's showing is that obviously good looks are attractive. And then there's a feedback loop of course, good-looking people get a lot of good reactions so that they gain a higher level of self-esteem. It's kind of we're all psyoping ourselves. But that's not pointing to fundamental principles. It's not pointing to the principle you think it is. Oh, people who are good-looking get good results and then act cool because they get good feedback. That just points to good feedback creates confidence. That's the principle it's pointing to. Not good looks are the most important thing. You have to actually know how to problem solve here, right? And the counter to the belief that the looks are the most important thing is you put a guy who looks like my best friend, and then you put someone like me who's really outgoing and, he's not afraid to walk up to her and be assertive and grab her and touch her and kiss her and da-da-da and whispers in here that he wants to fuck her pussy. That's more manly than a six-pack and this and this and this. Now, initially, starting the race, the guy who looks like my friend is going to he's going to be on the starting line. Of course. Because that's the first impression. But then as she spends time looking at him and looking at someone else who has a little bit more actual social confidence, the aura of that guy who has outgoingness and expressiveness, and he's not being shy, he's going to actually start to take the lead. And he's going to accelerate way faster. Now, if you don't go out a lot and don't see this, you can't believe this. But that's what I'm saying. Someone who doesn't have experience with girls, why are you claiming you should be in a state of, I don't know. You shouldn't necessarily agree with me just because I say something, but you shouldn't necessarily believe whatever you believe. You should actually be in a perpetual state of, I actually don't know because I don't have experience. If you haven't been successful in business, you can't make statements about what it takes to be successful or not because you haven't done it. You should just be like, I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. But the guys who are looksmaxing, who I'm addressing in this video, they're so fucking dogmatic about it, but that doesn't make any sense. You don't have any success, so you can't know what the truth is. But your fundamental principle locks you out of having success. Well, I can't have success because I don't look a certain way. But I know the truth because my failure to look good is proof that looking good is the most important principle. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Because if you go out and you see these exceptional guys who are like really outgoing and this and that, and they get girls, that's not the exception proving the rule. That's a fundamental different principle ruling things. That's being able to walk up to a girl and have the assertiveness to do it and do it in a charismatic way. Like, hey, excuse me, I saw you over here and I think you're really cute. No, that's fucking boring, dude. Hey, excuse me, hi, I saw you over here. And you're just like, wow, you look so good. What's your name? That's like something. Like, there's something there. It's exciting to women. And when I tell clients you're doing this and do what this number 2, they get better results. And when they're having trouble opening girls and getting dates, and that's because they're not even doing step 1. Then learning how to be a good listener, learning how to be an active listener and really hear what people say and respond to them in real time. And also being honest about your opinions, but being honest in a non-autistic retard way. Like, you can challenge her and give your opinion, but don't like fucking insult her or be rude, but also don't be a bitch and hide your opinion, because that's unattractive too. Like, there's all these like principles that are going on with complex variables and contexts, because socializing is really complicated. If it was simple, everyone would have already succeeded by now, because there's the people out there like, just be confident, just be yourself, just be a normal dude. You're all retards, and you're faggots for having these opinions. There isn't a just do this response. But I think people want it to be that way. People want the world to be that simple. But it's not. Look at any other field. Business. Just do cold traffic. Just do organic traffic. Just be yourself on video. You might fucking suck. You might be a boring-ass motherfucker. There might not be some gem hidden underneath, your shyness. You might just fucking suck. So you have to change who you are if you want to be attractive on video content, right? The same applies to business, fitness might be something that's really simple. Eat less than you need to maintain your current calories. And this is something I need to take. Like, I know I'm 15 pounds overweight. I should probably eat, 500 less calories a week. I should go to the gym 2 to 3 times a week. Do a mixture of cardio and weightlifting. And I've been in great shape like 7 different times in my life. It's something I know how to do. I think generally, like, physical health is a pretty simple principle, but the motivation to do it is not simple. That's the mechanistic part of losing weight is pretty simple, but the mechanics behind staying motivated and disciplined is anything but. So even then, right? So the solution to you giving up this stupid dogma of lookmaxing is actually pretty simple. You don't know what you're talking about, because if you did, you'd have a lot of success. Like, you just need data to form conclusions, and data of sitting there and watching other people is not sufficient. If you just gave it up and took a experimental adventurous mindset of like, I'm going to try this and really try it. And until you get success, you don't actually know what you're talking about. That's simple. But getting to the point where you're actually getting success is pretty complicated. There's probably a lot that you have to do. But I don't really know what you're doing with your timer. Like, I don't understand the point of sitting around and bitching. Like, if you were so certain of your truth, why are you bitching about it? Why are you about to leave a comment? if someone leaves a dumbass comment, which they totally will, I'll just like probably find this part in the video and like send it to them. And so I'm responding to you right now. I don't see the point of what you're doing. If you were so confident in your belief system, you wouldn't need to talk about it anymore. Like it would just be, that's it. That's the end of it. Looks the only thing that matters. Either look better or cope. Okay, then go do it. I don't know what the fuck are you doing on a YouTube video. I guess the only perspective they could claim is like, well, I'm showing the truth, you know, to the world. It's like, okay, wouldn't you rather get your dick sucked? Like, I don't know. Leave a YouTube comment, go get your dick sucked. I don't know. But this video is 99% going to fail. 99%. It's going to fall on deaf ears. But there's a 1% of you that are open to diplomacy. Like there was a guy he's a pretty serious lookmaxer. He's actually gotten 2 surgeries. He got a rhinoplasty and something with his eyebrows. And he's been leaving comments on my videos for quite some time now, probably like a year, or maybe even longer. And then he actually came on a live stream this past weekend, and I addressed his concerns. So I went over like, okay, well, I asked him, okay, now you got the surgery. Are you getting better results? He's like, well, I'm getting better feedback. And I said, okay, but are you getting better results? Right? Are girls coming up and saying they want to fuck you? And he's like, well, no, not yet. I'm like, okay, so then by your theory, you have to continue getting surgery, right? He's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay, at what point is your experiment failed? Right? I mean, I said, have you been propositioned straight up for sex? He said, yeah, but it was before my surgery. I said, okay, well, isn't that an important data point? Right? That you were propositioned for sex, you know, before you got the surgery. Isn't that interesting? Because if you're, again, like it's a very simple refutation. If you're walking up to girls and like talking to them and this and that, then why is that necessary? Why would you need to do that if looks is the sufficient principle? Again, I fully concede that it can make first impressions better. Like if I was going to coach myself right now, let's say I was single and I wanted to go out. Yeah, of course. First thing I would do is lose 15 pounds, put on some more muscle, you know, get a tan, you know, maybe get my earring back, you know, start dressing up nice again, stop wearing anime t-shirts. But then I would still have times where I am dressed like shit or look like shit and still pick up girls because I've done it. Like, it's just so hard for me to communicate with someone where that's not their reality. But I have to try and reach across the void and communicate with someone like that because just knowing I'm right isn't going to help you. My point of this video is to help you. Now, is calling you a retard or a faggot or insulting you or any of what I just did going to help? I don't know. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. But yes, looking good helps, but it's not the primary principle. And I know this because I have tested it and I've seen that I have my friend who's the archetype of good looking, or 10 other people that I've met who are, 100 people I've met who look better than me. And then I've seen that like my game, my ability to like conversate, my ability to demonstrate attractiveness of how do I say this properly? Like traits that are just attractive to women because women value men who have self-respect, but also can demand respect and they can earn respect. And usually that respect is earned by some sort of authoritative presence, right? It doesn't matter what that authority is in, but there's also this generalized authority where like, I don't care what environment I'm in. I won't let someone, take advantage of me. I won't let someone disrespect me. But then without becoming like, oh, but no one disrespects me, I'm not punching everyone in the face who calls me anything. It's like, okay, well, that usually actually signals underlying insecurities and you probably were fucking traumatized and, you're overreactive to everything, right? Everything that I see as an attractive trait lies on a spectrum. There's too much and too little. And generally, traits that women find attractive are on the more expressive side of things. more communicative side of things, more assertive side of things, more because being expressive is actually a feminine trait, but women actually like that in men more than they do being unexpressive. But assertiveness is a male spectrum characteristic, and women are really attracted to that on a lust level. Women are attracted to the more feminine trait of expressiveness on a more how to connect with them level, because you're connecting to their femininity. It also creates trust to be more expressive, because I actually see how that person is feeling. She's watching your facial expressions and listening to what you're saying and kind of like decoding whether you're like being deceptive or not. She's attracted to that. It creates a feeling of safety and comfort, because I can trust what this person says because I think they're honest. They never know for sure. They can only gauge your behaviors, right? But even the fact that I'm having this discourse about this trait and this trait and this trait and this trait and just this trait, this is attractive, this is unattractive, when she's being a bitch, calling her out, that's attractive, because standing up for yourself is a very masculine quality, because it requires confrontationalness, right? Being confrontational is a masculine trait. Women are generally non-confrontational, so this is really attractive to them on a lust level. The fact that I am having this discourse with you right now is inherently a debunk of looksmaxing. So, kind of gone around in a circle, but my points were like, of course, looks are important. Being in the top 1% of anything is going to be an outlier, give you outlier results. But primarily, I've proven through my experience that you can look like this and still get tons of success. But because men see looks as the most important, they'll go on this video and say, look at this chubby-ass motherfucker who can't even shave his beard. And he looks gay with his long hair. And they're going to think he gets no bitches. I get comments like this every fucking day. Now, in my reality, I'm like, okay, did I hallucinate all these girls that I fucked and, this and that? And all these experiences that I've had? Well, clearly not. But how do I take that experience in my mind and give it to you? I can't play you a 4K resolution memory of my life and everything I've been through. So all I can do is try to create a discourse between me and you, and try to I might shock you into a response by calling you a retard or a faggot, or saying you have a stupid mentality, and you'll go, oh, fuck this guy, da-da-da. And then, maybe the thought will sit with you and you'll go, okay, well, I don't know. Does he have a point? Or maybe I completely fucked up. Maybe by insulting you, I've destroyed all, good faith that you might have had. And you're like, okay, well, yeah, really fuck this guy. He was an asshole and da-da-da. That's possible too, right? There's no one perfect way to communicate in every context. There's usually a couple, but I've found that generally this is pretty effective, because I've seen it happen with my clients. But is that sample biased because someone who is my client is already receptive to what they want to hear from me? Yes and no, because I have times where I argue with my clients and I have to break through their stubbornness, right? And usually this approach kind of works. But this is like a shot in the dark. Like, who knows who's going to watch this video, So, I can't account for a billion different men watching this and their distinct personalities and experiences, right? I can kind of just make my best guess. So this is my best guess. And, sometimes it works. Like that guy that looksmaxer who's gotten 2 surgeries, he did say that he really appreciated his talk with me, and that I made some decent points, and that he's going to give it some thought, and that, just getting surgery after surgery after surgery, and maybe that's not the best approach. Maybe there is something to be said for doing surgery to his personality, and maybe more success in dating and relationship lies in that direction, in the direction of fixing, how he behaves and how he talks and how he comes off. Maybe. But we shall see. In the end, it's your life and you make your decisions. So, wish you all the best. Love you guys. Sorry if I came off too insulting. It's done with love. But, yeah. Good luck. Bye.